Good evening, friends. Oh, shit. Did you guys hear any of that? I noticed lately that my friend, a couple of different friends have come up to me and go, bro, people came up to me and they're like, hey, man, saw Jamie on the internet, man. He's a little bit out there right now. 3 different friends told me that, and we all laughed, me and my friends, because I'm like, well, you're not responsible for me. And he's like, I know. And I'm like, how can anybody think anyone's out there right now between they're trying to launch a new bee flu, if you know what I'm saying. There's drones and orbs everywhere. They just admitted that Biden was a corpse for the last 4 years. I mean, everything is a lie. Everything is a lie. And anyone who's still like judging people who are pushing back against the basic norms of society and going, this looks weird, is part of the problem. Like, if you don't open your eyes and not actively, but actively judge people and try to silence them and all this shit, it's like the world's nuts. Absolutely nuts. And I just don't understand how people can like not say that. Like, everyone should be in a conspiracy club at this point. I think to be not involved with some kind of conspiratorial thinking, I almost feel like you're the conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you, right? Right? I mean, am I crazy? A lot to go over. Lots going on. I'm just going to start reacting to some videos. I can already hear the comments.
Eat hot dogs. Eat them because they taste so good. But what's in them is not so good. You know, we've learned to accept it, but I don't know if you'll feel so accepting after this. The company Clear Foods recently analyzed 345 hot dog and sausage products from 75 brands and retailers and found, are you hot dog lovers ready for this? Human DNA in 2% of the samples and in 2/3 of the vegetarian samples. And get this, 10% of all vegetarian products appear to contain meat. Clear Foods says that there are some companies producing high-quality hot dog. Top scores to Butterball, McCormick, Eckrich, and Hebrew National. Human DNA.
I don't know what makes me happier. The fact that the vegetarians get meat in their dogs, or the fact that human meat is in the dogs. If you want to take it from, let's go from simple to bizarre to complete conspiracy. Are you ready? Now, to me, this should be a YouTube video, but people will think it's crazy, so maybe I have to put it on Patreon. You saw it right there. It's a big, broad newscast there. The human DNA, 2-3%. Maybe it's hairs. I don't know. Maybe it's skin flakes. Maybe it's mixed in. Sure, that could happen. 10% of vegetarian dogs have human DNA. That seems more than just a fingernail. That's going to happen. Now you're going, why would that happen? Well, what's a great way to get rid of, bodies if they're killed for nefarious purposes, whether trafficking, whether murder, or whether, we're run by a lizard race of people, and then after they extract everything they want, they get rid of them. If you really want to look at it, Soylent Green is a documentary.
You gotta tell them Soylent Green is people!
I think if you tested all of these foods more and more, you would see things. So, am I surprised? No. The way I think the world runs now, no. I think Soylent Green was made not just out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? It could be a way to, again, revelation of the process. Those who know. If you know, you know. And now we're doing it. And they said they were doing it. Funny that people would cry about that and not think that, how did that meat get there? Is this real, this one? There's no way this is real.
You okay?
Oh my God, how great!
You good? You just completely stole our moment.
No, come on then.
This was right. This is our baby,
And
the gender.
No, it's not like I'm worried. I just want to address it because I don't think this was right.
I'm excited that you had your baby.
You didn't allow him to hug me. I'm his wife. You didn't allow him to hug me.
Yeah.
Are you sure every day? Like, what's the problem?
Yes, but then we just found out we're going to have a little baby.
Blah, blah, blah.
I know, that it's my first
No,
granddaughter
you
as well.
yourself had it.
No,
Are
no.
you crazy?
on, everyone's happy. Come on.
Everyone happy.
Go on.
I don't think this is right because you just literally threw yourself at Dane, ended up on the sofa. He couldn't even like hug me.
Right, listen, are you a little bit hormonal as well?
Are you a bit hormonal?
Why is everyone starting at me and attacking me? Come on, love. Obviously, we're having a nice day. We'll tidy all this up.
You know, like you said, we had a nice day. We had a nice day, and I'm done with this. I'm done with it.
Is that real? I think it might be fake, but I'll react to it anyway. 'Cause it's really good. A, because the way they shot, they were ready for the reactions, was just a little too good. But yeah, the wife is 100% right. If that's real, the mother is completely wrong. That's not that crazy video. President Biden officially abandons mass student debt forgiveness plans. I love this so much. I love it. Where are the people that love Biden and he was a helper? You stooges. It's not that you're stooges. It's that you can't admit you're stooges. God, you're stooges. These are all the same people complaining about everything that want to be on the government nipple. There you go. It's right there. Biden officially abandons mass student debt forgiveness plans. Yeah, I think you should pay double because you believe this shit. You're dumb enough to go to college. In 5 years, you're not going to have a job. No one is. Figure it out. Get artsy. Get craftsy. Become an HVAC person. Become a plumber's assistant. I'm telling you, the physical labor jobs are the jobs that will be the last ones. Okay? But the fact that you're so arrogant about it, and then you did all this shit and promoted Biden like he was the great savior, and I love it. Why isn't this on the cover of CNN? Because they're scum. I just love it. I love it. I love it. Because in college, erudite, fake intellectuals, people who spend their whole life in safe spaces of campuses and books and all of different buildings of campus, but can't walk outside. And USC can survive perfectly well within the confines of that university. The minute they walk on Crenshaw, oh, you don't have the education for that life. It's not that I don't want you to win. It's just that you are so arrogant. And not USC. I'm just saying any college in general. A lot of people that go to college are arrogant, and that's why you have it, because most of the country doesn't think they're like hoity-toity. You know what I'm saying? And like, I could be hoity-toity because I have the means and the name and the different things, but instead I'm connected more to the regular man. You know what I mean? The man who's fighting for his, daily life. That's what I relate to. And so it's the fake aristocrat bullshit artist. Yeah, all the Biden voters are real quiet. It all went to Ukraine. It's true. It was only used to buy votes. So I just want you to know that. Wow. Been closed. Sam Goody still open? So sad, this song. Oh. That song is so perfect for this. The last 5 years, 5.5 years have been nothing but a great reset. Especially for me in my life, like I've lost both my parents, which they've lived a very long time. I had them to my, end of my 40s, which I think is very healthy, but I guess some people that might be too young for them. But my parents were much older. So, when I was the last kid, I was always the runt, so I wasn't a surprise. Then I closed one of my businesses because my partner was a shade ball. Agencies condensed. Then we had the pandemic, and that was 2 years And then when we started going back out, we started doing spottiness and gigs in here. And it really wasn't until 2023, because 2022, we were still spotty. I did 16 conventions last year, and first year I did 5, and 2022, and I did like 5 stand-up or 6 stand-up gigs in terms of weekends. So you can really say it was 2023 when things really opened up. No social distancing across America. And with that time, we've had technology advance, streaming advance. All this stuff is happening for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of the evolution of man, these stores closing. But they don't, I'm going to say it to you, man. Everyone says it and they're getting called crazy. How can you not? They don't want you out. They don't. Everything they're saying is true. Okay? They want you inside. Go downstairs to get your Amazon Prime. Go to your supermarket in your building. Go to yoga. Get in your cubicle. Make your content. Go Twitch stream. Get on a video game. Play that all day. Make your money online. Selling crypto. They don't want you to leave the house. We got eyes on you. It's my opinion. It's been said by the people that you consider crazy. And just look at it. I mean, Los Angeles is completely decimated. Pink Taco closed, man. They don't even stay open to like do just deliveries. Like California Chicken Cafe does not allow you to sit inside anymore. At least the 2 locations I went by, which is a huge staple here in LA. And but they're killing it because they deliver and everything. It's just like boom. Get your food. How long before get your food made by humans, put it in the delivery robot, send it to your place. It's fascinating, and people don't see it. And so, you know, there are restaurants that are opening, but there's some that are going to close, and it's just decimated in the sense that there's so many empty stores. And sure, you don't need shoe stores. I mean, you could go try them on, but you can get all your prescriptions online because it's not just like the consolidation of Hollywood, it's a consolidation of the world. And all the jobs where you're sitting at a computer, you don't need to be in a building anymore. You can do all this stuff from home. You have to be able to prove that you did it. But I'm telling you, I see this in Chicago. I see it I don't see it in Naples. Naples is thriving. Fort Lauderdale is thriving, although there's some for leases for sure. Even Florida, which I thought is very good, has a lot of for lease signs. Not as many as LA. New York, tons of for lease signs. San Diego, tons of for lease. So it's happening. You could just say that's technology, which it is, but it's also, we don't, literally everyone's going to have a name and a number. I believe that. And soon they're going to be like, why are we taking food to these mouth breathers? Robots are going to be annoyed. You realize that everything can be done, that there's not going to be a need for many jobs. You know that. Like everything can be done by artificial intelligence. Do you know that, right? Like if you come out to a comedy show, that doesn't mean there's not going to be an amazing robot comedy show or a great artificial intelligence comedy show. The only reason you'll come out is because you like me or you like human interaction. That's it. That's the only thing that will save my job. If you get a cup of coffee and it's made better by a robot, you're going to get that coffee a lot. But if it's your local little barista and you know her and you're down and she's like so sweet, and she makes that little cup of coffee with love, then you're probably going to support your local business, which I think we all are going to end up doing. We're all going to be like these local little communities, and I think it's really good. But I also think there's going to be a ton of tech takeover. There's so many people that don't have jobs. And some of them can't get jobs. Some of them don't want jobs, and some of them don't need jobs, and some of them are lazy. So one of the things that is being co-opted is, I guess it's under the influencer column. It's food bloggers and food reviewers. And some of them are just I follow a lot of them because they show me places I didn't know were around. And I could eat a new place every day in LA and not even see 5% of the places. There's so many good places. And Chicago, Seattle, there's all these little gems that they find, which I love. But damn, some of these people are annoying. Like, they're annoying because they're like, this was my best bite of 2024. It's like, it's just food, dude. I'm probably going to make fun of some of them. I don't really have any lined up right now, but I have a bunch saved. Generally, they are annoying because the way they describe the food. But that's becoming a career. Now, I don't know how they can make money. Some of these guys spend $1,000 at a meal. Their views don't look that crazy for them to spend that much. I don't think their views are that crazy, but maybe I'm in denial. We just drove 2 hours for the ultimate. Like, stop. I love this one.
125 years ago, Coca-Cola was doing the math on its sales. I believe by that point it had already abandoned the cocaine content. It was just cola at that point. But once you name something cocaine cola, how do you ever walk back from that? You know what I mean? It's too good of a name. So they noticed something. People bought Coca-Cola in the summer. A little bit in the fall, a little bit in spring, not in the winter. People didn't think of it as a winter drink. So the Coca-Cola advertisers were like, well, wouldn't it be great if we could somehow trick people or convince people or talk people or coax or whatever, brainwash people into drinking Coca-Cola in the winter too. So here's what Coca-Cola advertisers came up with. They thought, what if we somehow worked Coca-Cola into Christmas? Now, I know what you're thinking, Christmas is such a big deal. Not back then. Back then, Easter was the big deal. Christmas was important. People would go do Mass to commemorate Christ's birth, but everybody's born. The real interesting thing is to be killed, executed, and then come back 2 days later. That's fascinating, which is why people had focused on Easter. So what the Coca-Cola advertisers did was, they found a saint who was about to be decanonized, Santa Claus. The Catholic Church was like, he hasn't performed a miracle in a while, let's unemploy him. They grabbed him, they merged him with the story of Saint Nick, and then somebody got inspired. And the inspiration was to merge him with Kris Kringle. Kris Kringle was a Danish thief.
Wow.
Whose job in the day was a chimney sweep.
Makes sense.
He could pop his shoulders out and he could fit down a chimney. He would rob your house and then work his way back up, but you'd have a clean chimney. And they merged this together, but they then took St. Nicholas out. He was usually portrayed as a young man, skinny young man in green and brown clothing. They stuck him in Coca-Cola colors, red and white.
Satan.
They even decided to give him some pink in his skin to keep the Coca-Cola colors going. So they made him an old man so he could have white hair. And then they stuck him on the bottle. That's why periodically you'll see Santa Claus on a Coca-Cola bottle or a Coca-Cola can around Christmas time. Because they made him up. And they transformed Christmas. So instead of Christmas being an important event, but not an especially emotional event, an especially involved event, necessarily. I mean, there were nice traditions around it, stockings and maybe a Christmas tree. They turned it into this thing where all of a sudden this mythical being who drinks a lot of Coca-Cola is bringing you presents. I guess that's how he stays up so late, because think about how many hours it would take to bring presents to everybody. And in the process now, the average Christian in the United States at least thinks Christmas is the important Christian holiday. And it's forced other religions to think about what holiday they could promote during that time period, like Hanukkah. Hanukkah was never especially important. I mean, it's important, but not like, you wouldn't evolve like a whole bunch of time and energy and effort around it. But then, right, if you're Jewish and you're like looking at your kids going, we wish we had a Christmas tree, you need something to compete with this. And the next thing you know, there's a Kwanzaa.
100% I believe that. I've heard this from Kyle, who does this pod right here. He told me this a long time ago. I 100% believe that. The comments are going to come out, and a lot of people have cognitive dissonance, and they're like, he's stretching a lot of facts and misleading listeners, but Coca-Cola never came up with Santa. Oh, Google debunked it, it says. People are so butthurt by that. 100% Coca-Cola is called Coca because it was cocaine in it. You can look that up. And 100% Coca-Cola had a big deal with pushing Coca-Cola, which is the cool, refreshing drink in the summer, to the winter. You never thought of drinking it in the winter. When the snow, you drank hot cocoa, you drank coffee, you drank spirits. You didn't drink that. Coca-Cola syrup was an actual syrup that would settle your stomach. When I was a kid, I had something that would settle your stomach, and it would make you burp. So that was also a real thing. So Coke was used for many things. I definitely think most holidays are lies. I'm not saying I haven't enjoyed them, but with my great grand eye-opening awakening, which I believe everybody is on their own journey with, they should know that. Like, how can you see all the stuff that's going on in the world and be like such a consumerist now at this point in your life? I mean, if you've never had it, then I get it. You should. Everyone should get the opportunity to have nice things. I mean, if I was 25 and I was this awake, would I have cared as much? I don't know. But I never really totally cared anyway. Even when I got famous, I got a lot of things for free. I didn't like want to spend the money on them, but I didn't like care what I got. It was like, oh, it's free. So I wasn't ever a label guy. And I did buy a BMW, but that was only because it was like the best made car, and I had so many broken cars, and so my first check from Scream, I bought a BMW. It was used. I think Christmas is based on Krampus. Saint Nick is 100% a different thing than Santa Claus and Kris Kringle. You got Saint Nick, Santa Claus, Krampus, Kris Kringle. There's 4 characters in there. There's the chimney sweep. I did look enough of that up. I believe it. Also, Krampus, I think he would leave you you have to leave a sacrifice for him. I want to say one of them had children. I think it was Krampus, that he would only meet with the children, which then goes into some other shit. So listen, man, I believe it. And it got co-opted by consumerism. The idea of doing something nice for your neighbor got into, hey, buy your neighbor a new MacBook Pro. And if you don't, you're a piece of shit. I believe it, and I believe Coca-Cola at the time was the biggest brand in the world. I think it's like the 3rd biggest now. I think number 1 is the Arches, number 2 is the Apple from Apple, and I think number 3 is Coca-Cola. I know it's top 5 for sure, and it's been that way for almost probably 200 years. I mean, it's a brand. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I love that Christmas was made. I hope most people see this and cry, because that's the way it is. Everything's a lie. That's why I talk about this shit. And I get mad because people don't want to admit it. They're like, why are people so broken to find out that so many things are lies? Why? They're like, it's like, because your whole worldview is shattered. How naive are you? In order for something to live, something must die for something to live. Just like right now, as you're watching this, if you're watching this on your iPhone, that shit, the base material of your iPhone is cobalt. Cobalt is in the deep mines of Africa, other 3rd, 4th world countries, with guys down there with stones picking at the cobalt, trying to make $8 a day, fighting each other to get the cart full of cobalt, to take it to another guy, then that somehow get it on a ship and get credit for it, that it goes over to China, and then it begins the base materials of your iPhone. So if you want to talk about sacrificial things, there is a sacrifice in everything to have something nice. So something lives, something dies. You know, the factory where they're made, they put out suicide nets in the making of the iPhone because the hours were so insane that people were just jumping out of the window. They're like, bleh. I mean, that you can just look that up. So it's the American blind, ignorant consumerism that, if you're blind because you didn't look into the stuff, I don't have any ill will towards you. It's that when you know it exists and you don't want to admit it, that's what pisses. It's like if you are a true liberal and a true human rights activist, a true one now, you wouldn't use an iPhone because there's definite pain in the making. And if you don't believe that, you're a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. I'm using it. I believe I want to help people, but I still use an iPhone. If I really didn't want to, I would have to find a product that did not help, had no suffering in it. Maybe the Hawaii phone, that looks good, but I don't know what's used to make that. You know what I'm saying? Look at, they say the sneakers are clothes. They're made in sweatshops. They brush that shit under the rug. If you can't admit that, then I don't know what to tell you. That's what's annoying. It's like, just admit it.
If I told you that an alien invasion is being manufactured, think about it. Do you really believe the oligarchs would tell us something that they don't want us to know? That slow drip of alien disclosures happening lately, UFO hearings, leaked videos, government officials reluctantly admitting there might be something out there. It's all theater, a drama designed to manipulate you. They want you to think the powers that be are resisting this disclosure, that they're being forced by public pressure to let the truth out. It's reverse psychology 101. The public celebrates, thinking they forced the truth out of the system, but it was part of the script all along. And why would they do this? Simple. Control. Think about it. What better way to unite the world under a single banner than by manufacturing a threat from beyond this planet? And this didn't come out of nowhere. No. Decades of alien-themed movies and TV shows have been conditioning us for this moment. They've drilled into our heads what an alien invasion looks like on the world stage and how it feels. They're priming you to react in exactly the way they want when the fake invasion happens. But here's the kicker. They're not stopping with just a fake invasion. They're going to fuse the concept of aliens with religion. Picture this. Instead of saying humans evolved naturally, they'll claim that aliens were our creators. Genetic modification, advanced technology.
Now that's a definite fascinating thing. I've been hearing about this for a while. If you're someone who doesn't vibe with me, I don't know how you couldn't. Can you at least admit that it's very weird that there's stuff in the sky that looks like drones that we haven't seen, that could be something our government made, that are huge in the size of a car, that we never really were told that we had or talked about? And that's just weird. Could you just say that? And that they're showing up in a lot of cities and a lot of countries. Can you just say that's a little weird? It's very weird. And then our government won't comment on it. That's very weird. And then we see these actual, look like biological living organisms floating in the sky that seem to have some sort of sentient life of their own. They don't look anything like mechanical. They look like ethereal or even fleshy or energetic. And just to see those alone is weird everywhere, right? Like, it should be the front story of every news station. Don't you think every night there should be a story about it? We saw more drones tonight, saw some orbs tonight. And then they're trying to say these plasmoids have been here forever. I never heard of a plasmoid until 2 weeks ago. I never heard of that shit. And now Bethany Frankel is on TikTok calling it Dior bag talk because I guess she's in trouble. They take the videos down. So if they're taking the videos down, what does that tell you, man? It's like if they're censoring you, it's because you're on to something. So just the fact that it's there, if no one can admit that it is not odd, then you should just please leave my circle. Like anyone in your circle, if you believe what I'm saying to you right now, that can't admit, that just think it's every day, don't have their, oh gosh. I mean, I don't want to go near those people because it's odd. It's beyond odd. And this is, you know, one of the things that they say is happening, and it's been around forever. That would be called Project Bluebeam. I'll give you the 2-second version, but it's basically the world is now built. Everything is ready to go. They don't need human beings anymore. The elite powers that be, the people who own the world, pick them out in your mind, who you know. They can buy most of the world, between the 200 of them, and own it, make it their playground. So if they do that, they don't need people anymore. People just take up space. They're annoying. So how do you get rid of them? There's a lot of ways. If you can get rid of them, or you can straight up, you know, control them. So Bluebeam has always been a way to exert that, so it's one world, government, finance, all that stuff. That's just been said for ever. And then there's also the people that believe that the aliens are real, which I kind of still believe that's true. And then there's the people that believe that the aliens are always here, which I also definitely believe that's true. I believe that they're here right now and they're mixed with our people and they're running the governments and all that stuff. I do believe they're all part of one system. I believe that England talks to Canada, talks to Uruguay. I believe all of that. And then there's the other one that these aliens are actually just interdimensional creatures that are demons. So I believe a little bit of all of it, but I believe there's a lot more than just what we were considered human, taught to be human, flesh and blood human. There's a lot more than just that on this planet, whether now or in another dimension that we can't access, what's looking at us right now, watching me do this video right now, deciding how much they're going to let this video go on the internet or not. And then the rest of the stuff with the blue beam and all that. So there's a little truth to all of it to me. Why do it now is because the technology's here. because we're just going to have basically more and more. It makes sense if you look at it from a logical standpoint. More and more and more things are happening. Less and less people are going to have jobs. You see it. Shit, even the places that you go. Where was I at the other day? Oh, I was talking to this woman, and she's like, about security guards. And I was like, these guys ain't really doing their job. And she's like, it's tough. It's tough to find good help right now. Like, I know. And I see it. You go to a restaurant and there's 20 open tables. And I'm like, why do I have to wait 10 minutes? And they go, because we don't have the staff. So before I'm I go, I'm so sorry. They can't seat me because there's just no one over there to serve me. Whether the people have Patreon, whether they're on drugs, whether they have an OnlyFans, whether they're living in their mommy's basement. I have no idea. People just don't want to work. That's why all these people are going, how can I make this automated so I don't have to rely on these humans that keep letting me down or don't want to come in. So we're at the point where we can do all this and we need less and less human work. So then what are you going to do with a bunch of people milling around all day and they're going, well, what do I do? I'm running out of money and there's not a lot of jobs. I mean, lawyers are going to be out of work. AI can do a better contract. There's so many driverless cars in the street right now. That's a basic job. I'll drive you. Basic job. Brake, gas, gear. Boom. Pay me a little bit of money. It's not a job that takes a lot of knowledge, okay? That's going to displace so many people, okay? So these basic jobs are going to go away. Delivering food. That's a ton of people that are in between, whether that's their life goal, whether that's a stepping stone job, whatever. That is going to go away. I see it right now in my city, right now. We have tons and tons of delivery bots. They're just these little things that wheel down the street. What am I saying? You know what I'm saying. All these people are going to be displaced. What do you do with them? They're going to start getting mad. They're going to start getting paranoid. They're going to need money. Crime rate goes up, freaked out, drugs, vaping. It always goes back to vaping. What the fuck? Life questions, all this shit. How do you control all these people when they start losing their mind? Well, that's where the alien idea could come in. I hope that made sense. But it's basically people are going to start losing it because it's not going to be the same anymore. You don't get a job. You don't get a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken as a fry cook, work your way up to shift manager, then work your way up to store manager, and then work your way up to two-store manager, and then become regional manager, and then division manager. Okay, that was it. And then you work yourself up within the ranks of the community in the company. It's just, not only is that not happening, I don't think you'll be able to sit in a Kentucky Fried Chicken in 5 years. They don't want you in there. They'll just make the food automatically, and they'll deliver that shit to wherever you are. That's it. Why? Because they can. You sat in there before. Think about the logic. Let's go logical. You had to drive there. You could call, and then you looked at the thing, and then you ordered the food, and then you sat down with the food, and then, it was cute. And you can bring your family, or your family took you, or you went on a little date or whatever, and you went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and the food was good. Well, now you can just do everything online. And whoa, our sales are making more money online than they are people sitting in the stores. And crime is getting, and I don't have to pay these workers. And innately, human beings are greedy. How can I increase my profits but get, rid of my losses? It's pretty simple. So, yeah. So that idea of moving up with the company, not only are you not moving up with the company's gone. Kentucky Fried Chicken's not. Party City's gone. They just say order all that online, okay? Red Lobster is closed. That's where I worked, which is kind of crazy because you could think you would still deliver that shit. People still want to eat Red Lobster. So if you think of these things logically and then look at the crazy things that are being pushed and you go, well, that's so crazy. But then if you kind of see where the world is, can't you see that they could be a reality and that's the only way to do it? You can't just tell people, hey, man, guess what? Automation's taking over everything, and you're not going to have any fucking job, dude. And guess what? Your money's going to be... Okay? So unless you can figure out an entrepreneurship within the community of the human being where you can get money from people, that's why sneakerheads are amazing. Sneakerheads are good. They know how to get deals, and they know that sneakers are now a commodity. So they're flipping them to each other, and they're making a ton of money. Pokemon cards, all that shit. But the basic things of like buying and selling department store shit, it's just being the person who's working for the big store, it's just not going to be there anymore. And if you're upset about that, I'm sorry, but where have you been?